Nukat. For those of you who speaks only English, Nukat means dots. Okay, and Nukat is an organization for cultural development. Cultural development is a big statement. It's something that we never thought we'd ever say it as an organization. It's something we never aimed at or even intended to. But let me explain it. In order to explain it, we need to understand what culture is. Culture, by definition, is a set of ideas, behaviors, and traditions that a group of people would follow. What we do is develop that. And the way we develop that is by connecting the dots, or the nukat. And those dots are basically people, ideas, knowledge, communities, organizations, what have you. But tonight, what I want to focus on are basically the dots of learning that we managed to gather throughout the journey of Nukat since its inception. The first dot I want to start with is this: frustration. Unlike to what many doctors would tell you, I would say frustration is actually good for you. And it all started back in 2007. I worked in advertising. I graduated as a graphic designer. And as I worked throughout my career, I reached a point where I could no longer come up with ideas. I felt I had a mental block. I didn't know what to do. I thought I probably need to change careers. But like any ad man, one of my dreams is to actually go to the Cannes Lions Festival. It's like the Oscars for advertising. So I gathered a bit of money and flew there. And the minute I entered into the first talk, I sat on the chair. The guy started speaking, and instantly, ideas started pouring out of my brain. I couldn't stop them, to the extent I actually opened my notebook and started writing on and on and on, one talk after the other. And so I realized that basically the issue wasn't me, but it's basically the environment around me. It's not actually triggering me. It's not actually inspiring me. So I felt that kind of frustration. In a way, I felt good because I realized I wasn't the problem, but also that I need to do something about it. The second frustration came about when I was going around, looking at those activities in the event, and I realized that all the collaterals, all the marketing material was translated in all languages, including Hebrew, but not Arabic. And I thought, well, we kind of form quite a decent chunk of the globe, and we don't have presence in such a big event. And also the submissions from the Middle East into such an event were very Western-like. They didn't reflect anything about our culture. And that was a bit irritating in that sense. To top it off, I went to a workshop on radio advertising. And as I said in that workshop, an Asian guy came and sat next to me. And out of courtesy, he was like, who are you, what do you do, and where are you from? So I told him, my name is Wakim, I'm Lebanese, I work in Kuwait, I'm a creative director in one of the ad agencies. And what do you do? And he's like, I'm from South Korea, I'm a university student. I'm like, oh, wow, interesting. He's like, you're doing your master's, your final year, so you're attending such a festival? And he was like, no, it's my first year, and the university sent the whole class to Cannes. And it struck me at that moment, that guy was 18 years old. I was 29. And we were both taking on the same kind of knowledge at different ages. So technically, he's 11 years ahead of me. So with all these frustrations from this festival, I came back to Kuwait, and I thought there's something need to be done. And to me, such a festival didn't look that hard to pull off. I mean, it took me a while to actually go there because I didn't have the money for it. So instead of every time paying so much money to go there and be inspired, why not bring it to where I live, in Kuwait? And hence, the second dot of this learning, which is inspiration. I told my wife, how about I quit my job, start my own company, and part of what this company does would be maybe a conference similar to the Cannes Festival. And she was like, yalla, let's do this. So I quit my job, started a creative consultation, and started preparing for a 2-day symposium, focusing on Arabic design and creative Arabic writing. Tariq Atrisi was one of the people I knew back from university days. And he's a very prominent type designer. So I thought he'll bring in some audience. Mind you that back in the time in Kuwait, or even in the region, conferences of the sort of the Cannes Festival didn't really exist. So I spoke to Tarek, and I told him I had this in mind. What do you think? He said instantly, he said, yes, I'll be coming in. I needed more speakers, but I didn't have more budget, so I threw myself in as a speaker as well, and a good friend of mine, Basma Al-Qassar, as well, to be one speaker. And we all gave 3 talks and 3 workshops. And the title of the symposium was Nuqat ala al-Huruf, hence the name Nuqat. Now, please disregard the aesthetics of the whole thing. It was done in a hotel. I also don't know why we even had flowers on the stage. But it looks like a government event rather than an actual creative event. But I mean, it was what it was. We had around 80 people coming in. The only way we communicated the event was by email and Facebook. Facebook was just the only social media platform at the time. You'd create a group and you send out the invites. And so 80 people came in, and that was like a big deal at the time. And among the participants were these 2 lovely ladies, Sarah Nafisi and Hassa Al-Hmeri. That was me, in case you didn't recognize me with hair. So, backtracking on Sarah and Hassa's events, while I was facing my own frustration, they also were facing the same thing. They graduated as graphic designers, worked in an ad agency, were frustrated from the quality of work that they were doing. They quit their jobs, went to London, took on a couple of workshops, they felt inspired, and they thought to themselves, hey, those kind of workshops aren't that hard to do and quit. And as they were thinking of that, they were on Facebook, the event of Nuqat ala al-Huruf came up through a friend, and they were like, there's Tariq Atrisi coming to quit, that's interesting, let's sign up. So they signed up, they came in, and we met in my workshop on creative Arabic writing. And immediately we kind of clicked as we spoke and discussed ideas throughout the workshop. And at the end of it, they came up and they were like, listen, we probably have similar visions of what we'd like to do in Kuwait. How about we team up and do something together? Now, at this point, such a question usually have 2 kind of answers. The first one would be, who are you? I don't know you. It's my project. I'm going to keep on doing it on my own. And obviously, probably I won't be standing here today, or there won't be more slides after that. But obviously, the answer was, yes, great. Let's work together and do something big. And that sense of collaboration is a very critical dot. And it was really the driving soul of everything that we did after that. So with that collaboration, we organized a big conference at this very stage in GUST. We had around 13 speakers. We did around 10 workshops, very small ones over the course of 3 days. We had around 200 people attending. And for us, we saw that as an opportunity. It turned out there are a big number of people who are really thirsty for creativity. So with that sense, we got a call because it seems like it had good reputation. It built up good reputation through social media. We had a call from the organizers of Art Dubai saying, we're going to do a Dubai Design Days and we'd like you to come and organize a conference in Dubai. And we got so excited about it, we said, yes, we're going to do that. So we went to Dubai and did an even bigger thing with 25 speakers, around 12 workshops over the course of 5 days. It was amazing. We got regional coverage. It was a blast. 300 people came in. But on the other hand, it was a catastrophe. Sponsors didn't pay us. We went into debt. We started getting letters from lawyers, from suppliers, threatening us if we don't pay. And we literally fell into tears, not knowing what to do. We were so impulsive about going there because it's Dubai. So at this point, if any normal businessman would tell you, cut down your losses, close shop, go home, take a loan, pay everything back, and just live your life. But as naive as we were, we said, you know what? Let's do the same thing again in the same year in Kuwait. So we did. We called up all the speakers. We told them, hey, listen, you came to Dubai. We can't pay you. So why don't you come to Kuwait? We'll pay you for both, and everybody's happy. Now, usually, any speaker would tell you, no, like, we never worked with you before. If you didn't pay us for Dubai, why would we pay you for Kuwait? But luckily enough, it seems everybody believed in what we're doing, and they said yes. So we did it again in Kuwait with the same set of speakers, same number of workshops. Lots of sponsors came on board because we were in Dubai and we got regional coverage, and they felt, wow, we like a regional thing. So we paid everybody back. We paid back all our debts, and we saved some money and started hiring staff. And this gave us a very good learning, which is believing in what we do. We had faith in it. So with that being an additional driver to move on, we organized our 2013 conference. We had the Arab Spring happening at the time, and everything was very negative. Lots of wars, lots of bloodshed, lots of changes and so on. But for us, it was about creating positive change. So we themed it as executing culture shock. And that kind of worked well. But at the same time, it was a conference. Not everybody really wants to come and listen to talks. So we thought, okay, so if nobody really wants to come and listen to talks, we need to do something to bring in more people. So as a group, it wasn't anymore by myself, we thought, okay, we did some brainstorming, and then we came up with this brilliant idea. And it's food. So who hates food eventually? So we thought, if in the outdoor area of those talks, we'll have some food kiosks. We'll create a nice seating arrangement that's good for people to engage, and have a big screen that's broadcasting the talks that are inside. And what happened basically is that people would come in who are really wanting to listen to the talks. They would call up their friends or their business partners or their clients. They're like, come on over, it's nice, chilling atmosphere. Let's have some coffee, talk a bit. So the people would come in. But at the same time, in their background, they're listening to those interesting talks. And that fed into the conversations. And that eventually made everybody who came in for just a cup of coffee stay for all the 3 days. And with that, our audience doubled from 400 in 2012 to 800 in 2013. So food worked eventually. So as a collective, we realized that we are actually problem solvers. Nothing would stop us. So with that idea and that understanding, we themed our next conference in 2014 as practicing the collective approach. It was all about collaboration. It was all about how we as a society can solve problems. So speaking of society, as we came up with that theme, we realized that many people who actually attended the past conferences had life-changing moments as they listened to our talks. So we managed to collect a few names, spoke to them, and they agreed to be on a video that we opened up the conference with. Some changed majors, some started businesses, some simply quit their jobs and went on a discovery journey for their passion, you name it. And with that in mind, we realized that everybody was really interested in what they're doing, and the audience started growing more and more. We had around 1,000 people attending this conference. And with that, we realized that we have a community. Although it might sound like a given, but really there was no community that we could talk about back in the day, back when I was in Kuwait actually. So this was a very inspiring moment for us and a very important realization. And with that, what we did for the 2015 conference was involve the community in our program. It wasn't just us doing the talks and the workshops. We did an open call. We invited as many community partners as we can to suggest their activities to be part of our program. And we took them on, and we did a whole 7 days program in 2015 that was so engaging with so many community partners, and that also resulted in the first open-air concert in Kuwait after a very, very long time. And this was a milestone done with an amazing partner, Loyak and Lapa. Shahid Park had just opened, and we had this concert with Saad Masi. Of course, nobody was allowed to dance, but at least they could clap and enjoy their time. But there was this sense of change that you could feel while you were listening to the music, to the ambiance, really feeling the vibes around that. And with it, okay, we felt like, there's so many community members part of this program. We've been engaging so many people. We're having so much of a big audience. And everybody started to have certain expectations of the kind of change you're creating within the society. And this really created Just learning that we have some responsibility to hold on to. And with that sense, we kind of stepped back and said, okay, remember we started off as a design conference, but now we're actually creating some sort of a change in the community, and we are literally no experts in that. It was just happening. So we took a step back and we said, okay, we're taking all that into consideration. Now we need to talk about something big, much bigger than any one of us, something that really involves everybody. And the topic was powering the creative economy, where each human being was at the center of it. And it was about how can each one of us become a problem solver, become an active individual in changing their society. And it was such an abstract topic as well, that one conference, which was for 8 days with so many activities and around 6,000 people attending it, this topic was such an abstract concept that we felt just one conference wasn't enough. So we felt that with it, we can actually grow. So we decided to stop doing the annual conference and go on tour and visit as many cities as we can in the following years, which are the 2 years. And as we stand today, we visited around 8 cities, mostly the GCC. We've lately visited Beirut and Amman. And with that topic, we were trying to start the conversation on the creative economy. We were trying to make more connections, grow the community, find and discover more individuals that are willing to be part of it. And hopefully by 2019, we'll be able to bring them into our regional conference that will be hopefully for 10 days, engaging as many community partners as we can, so that we define on an individual level, on a social level, and even on a structural level, how we can achieve the creative economy and become, each one of us, an entity that can add value to society. And hopefully our next dot would be, how can we actually pass it on so that each person would be able to make their own mark? And thank you very much.